to share this. It was very inspirational for me. It's, we're going through a season right now of, COVID and lots of people working from home and different things happening and having to really come at life from a different perspective most of the time, and things that we've never done before. I've never worked from home for any length of period of time, and we find a way through it, and we ask God for His help. And there's a lot of things going on. I mean, that's not as bad as a lot of things that are happening for other people. Unemployment rate is really high, and people are asking for God's help in that regard as well. And the United States is helping a lot of people, and there's a lot to be said for that. And I heard a story, and we rely not only on help from others, help from our country, help from our community, help from our leaders, we also rely on help from God. And there was an amazing story that I heard this morning, and it was about a pastor in Deep South somewhere that at the conclusion of every service, he would ask somebody in one of his parishioners to give the closing benediction, whatever it is, just pray everybody out, as we call it, to pray everybody out. And there was an old farmer that he used to call on all the time to pray everybody out, to give the benediction at the end of the service. And every time he did it, at the end of his benediction, he would say, "And dear God, please lean us up, or please prop us up on our leaning side. Prop us up on our leaning side." And so one time, the last time in this story, the pastor went up to the old farmer and he says, "I love the way you pray. Thank you so much for giving our benediction when I call on you. I was always curious, what does prop us up on our leaning side mean? Never known the meaning of that." And so the old farmer looked at the pastor and he says, "I'm a farmer, and I live on a farm, some ways from here. And, one of my barns years ago is really old. It's, from the 1900s, the early 1900s. And a couple of years ago, it started leaning. And so I took a bunch of beams and a bunch of 2x4s and I kind of propped it up on that leaning side. And so it's still standing and still strong. And so from time to time, when I start to lean, when I start to have hatred or start to have self-doubt or start to have jealousy or things like that, I just simply ask God to prop me up on that leaning side. And that's where it came from. So anyway, I think there's a lot to be said for that particular story. And what are you using right now in your lives to prop you up on your leaning side? I want to think about that, and I want to kind of share in this particular teaching this morning. What's propping you up on your leaning side? For me, it's more and more devotion. It's more and more diving into that place where I can feel God, where I can see God, whether it's in a meditation, in a deep pause in between in-breath and out-breath, whether it's everything that I do every morning. You guys, a lot of you know my morning routine and what I do in the mornings, and that's really something that props me up on my leaning side. If I don't do my morning ritual every morning, then basically I'm lost throughout the day. I really am. And it's something that I lean on. And so that's what I use to prop me up on my leaning side. So I want you all to think about that through the course of your day and see what comes to you from that. And we'll take it from there, and we'll share on that for the next 5 or 10 minutes. So I welcome you all in. Thank you.